Hi guys, so first of all, I just want to shout out a couple of people. Number one, Brianna, for your participation in yesterday's discussion. You really emerged as a leader in that discussion and you did a great job. I also want to shout out Christian and Isaiah because I really see you guys stepping it up in terms of like the quality of your work and the way you're really making sure to dig deep into those historical documents to understand the topics. It's been really awesome to see your growth. So looking forward to seeing more of that. All right, so with all of that said, today is day 3 of our study of the Holocaust. If you have not yet completed the RTL, at this point, pause this video, go back and complete the RTL, because the RTL sets up the discussion for the learning target. So today, instead of starting with the learning target, we're actually going to start with a little bit of review/discussion. So first of all, based on the RTL, you probably figured out that for question number 1, okay, for question number 1, which was, if I get it up here, according to his doctor, why did Hitler think that he could get away with murdering Jews, Roma, the disabled, and anyone else who did not meet his definition of desirable during the Holocaust? So you probably figured out that based on the quote, the Holocaust is happening at the same time as World War II. The Holocaust is happening at the same time as World War II. And it's happening in the middle of all the chaos. Sorry, guys. It's happening in the middle of all the chaos that World War II created. So in all this chaos, Hitler and the Nazi regime find that they're more able to get away with the Holocaust, which, as we've been studying over the last couple of days, is a form of genocide. We studied this word in the mini lesson video yesterday. The word genocide can be broken into 2 important parts. The first part is gen. The second part is side. Let's start with the second part, side. Think of other words that end in C-I-D-E. I'm going to pause to give you a second to think of other words that end in C-I-D-E. You might have come up with suicide or homicide. Both of these words end in C-I-D-E. That ending, C-I-D-E, means the word relates to killing. The word in some way relates to killing when it ends in C-I-D-E. Now let's look at the first part of the word, gen. Gen might sound like gene or generation. Gen might sound like gene or generation. When you see that first part of the word gen at the front, your brain should automatically think, okay, I'm thinking about a certain race, a certain ethnicity. So now put it together. If side means killing and gen relates to a specific race or ethnicity, so the word genocide means the killing of a specific race/ethnicity. Tilt this down to make sure people can see. Side means killing. Gen means related to a certain race or ethnicity. Put it together, genocide means the killing of a specific race or ethnicity. We know that during the Holocaust, the Germans, led by Hitler, targeted Jewish individuals, the Jewish community. They targeted people who ethnically are considered Jewish, and they attempted to wipe them out. As we've been learning over the past couple of days, there were multiple steps to Hitler's plan for the Holocaust. Step 1, we learned about last week. Step 1 we learned about last week. Those were the Nuremberg laws. Nuremberg laws. These were the laws which discriminated against Jews in all areas taken over by Germany. So some examples of these laws were that Jews were not permitted to marry Germans. Jews were not permitted to attend the same schools as Germans. Jews were not permitted to sit on the same public benches as Germans. Jews were not permitted to walk in public parks. Jews had to wear the Star of David, which is a symbol of the Jewish faith, on their arms at all time. You probably remember watching the family walk around with Stars of David on their shoulders. That's because during this time, under the Nuremberg laws in Germany, all Jews were required to wear the Star of David. This is step 1 of the Holocaust. Step 2, we've been studying for the past couple of days. This is the creation of the Jewish ghettos. Those areas, those districts where Wladek's family in the movie for the past 2 days was forced to live, those specific areas were called the Jewish ghettos. They were specific areas of cities where Jews were forced to live. They were incredibly overcrowded, very dangerous, because the German soldiers would routinely go into Jewish ghettos and inflict violence. They would control the lives of Jews living in these Jewish ghettos. This is step 2 of the Holocaust. At the end of yesterday's movie, we saw the family being packed onto an overcrowded train. That train was headed for step 3 of the Holocaust, the concentration camps. The concentration camps. Our learning target today connects to this term, concentration camps. We need to figure out what happened in these camps and what they were. So now let's go to our learning target. I will be able to explain life and resistance in the Nazi-run concentration camps. Concentration camps we'll get to through our main activity. I'm not going to describe them to you now, but this word Nazi should be familiar. Nazi Germany is the name. That's the name of the German government and German soldiers at that time. Should write German government. So if you hear this word Nazi, in your brain automatically you should think to yourself, okay, we're talking about the leader of Hitler, the government of Germany. It's the government of Germany which ran these concentration camps. Our job today is to figure out what life was like in these concentration camps, and also how people resisted, how they went against the camps. So what you're going to do today is read testimony, read journal entries from real people that survived the concentration camps. But first, quickly, let's take a look at these diagrams and go through the Intro to Concentration Camps sheet. The concentration camps were massive killing centers the Germans built to kill the Jewish population. Between 1939 and 1945, the Nazi soldiers killed millions of Jewish and other minorities in these camps. The most famous method by which Nazis would kill people is by putting them in these small rooms into which the Nazi soldiers would release poisonous gas. These facilities, where thousands of people would be executed at once through poisonous gas, were called the gas chambers. So if we scroll down to the 3rd page, you have 2 diagrams of concentration camps here, and you'll see in both diagrams there are lots of references to gas chambers. If you scroll to the 3rd page, that's where you'll find your graphic organizer. Your job today is to fill in this graphic organizer using the journal entries of those who survived the concentration camps. So there are 3 journal entries, or 3 testimonies. Each has a historical context. You're reading each document and filling in your graphic organizer based on what you read in the document.